Amy, you're not here to read my notes for me.
I'm
Hey,
here.
Monday movie fans, Monday movie club fans. I wouldn't join any club that would have me as a member, quite frankly. This week was Mark's pick, 1976 Oscar-winning Best Picture, Rocky, which he has up. And why he's naked again, we do not know.
We do not know.
Maybe
Why
his
no one
fan-
else is in solidarity with me, I don't know either. Everyone else has their shirt off.
Did your fan request it?
He's doing it in solidarity with Stallone for the softcore porn film he did early in his career.
Right?
Yes,
Didn't
yes.
they
Party
rename
at
that
somebody's
the
and
Italian
somebody's.
Stallion?
Yeah.
They renamed that the Italian Stallion.
Yes.
I am Frank Gaffney. Here with me, as always, is Joel Fenster, shirt, and he has a whole setup of Rocky behind him. It's a what? 1/3 miniature. Bring Rocky forward so we can see what it looks like. What is it called? Mini
They're called
mates.
mini mates, plastic crack. They're 2 inches high.
Right?
That's supposed to be Rocky.
It's
That's a
Rocky.
lot of hair. A lot of hair. Go Fook. No Cringer. What's wrong with Cringer today?
I was at my computer early. He was here. Now he's sound asleep.
Oh, he's like, oh, we already did it. We're done.
A bum,
There's-
Goldman.
there's-
You're a bum.
There's Paul Lukanik again in the background. What are you looking for, Paulie?
My lens.
Oh,
Hey,
he's-
Paulie.
Hey, Paulie.
Paulie! Gee.
Howdy doody.
Annie King, who's actually home for a change, and Mark Wochitzgartner, who thinks he's Rocky. What's that? Oh, your collection.
Oh,
My,
nice.
my box set.
It's a DVD box set.
Yes, it
20th
is.
Century.
And which one of those do you never watch?
Five. It's it should not be watched ever. But I own it. I've owned it for 20 years.
All right, so Mark, you kind of started to answer the question. Why Rocky?
I love the entire franchise. Rocky 2 is actually my favorite because I grew up with it. I'll explain more later. But Rocky 1 is the Oscar winner. It's the classic.
How do you love the entire franchise if you won't watch 5?
Yeah, you don't know if you love the entire franchise.
Fine. I love 90% of the entire franchise. How's that? All the Creed movies, Rocky Balboa, everything. But 1 through 4, I've watched so many times.
By the way, as an accountant, that should be 80%. But
Yeah.
okay, go on.
Well, if you're going only 1 through 5, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm going
You're
through
going all the way to Creed
8,
3.
9, yeah.
What's the actual percentage of 1 out of 9?
About 11%. So
right.
89%. I said 90. I was close.
Yeah, but for
As an
being an
accountant,
accountant, that's not good.
close is not good.
Wrong. Estimates are used regularly.
Not for the final product, though. And this is the final product.
Round
so-
sevens. Sorry.
Okay, I love this movie. Love this movie. I've seen it more than a few times, and I still loved it, even watching it again this week. But here's the plot, although I can't imagine who does not know it. Rocky Balboa, a small-time boxer from working-class Philadelphia, yes, I'm reading, is arbitrarily chosen, wow, to take on the reigning world heavyweight champion, Apollo Creed. While training with feisty former bantamweight contender Mickey Goldmill, that's his name, Rocky tentatively begins a relationship with Adrian, the wallflower sister of his meat-packing pal, Paulie. How's that for alliteration? Meat-packing pal, Paulie. And it's a real Cinderella story, not only the movie, but actually the making of this movie, because legend has it that 29-year-old Sylvester Stallone had $30 to his name when he met the producers, Irwin Winkler and Robert Chartoff. And it didn't go well. And on the way out, they asked, he mentioned to the producers that he also writes scripts. And so they asked to see something, and he went home and wrote Rocky in 3.5 days, he says. Legend, fact, I don't know. But also seeing this as his chance for stardom, he said he didn't want to sell them the script unless he could actually play Rocky. So sometimes you do get to write your own history. And variations of this theme have been told hundreds of times, but what makes Rocky so special is the beautiful performance by Sylvester Stallone and the joy of watching the underdog make better himself on his own terms. And it really is so beautifully written right from the beginning. We see Rocky's not a great boxer. And then the minute he goes home and talks to his turtles, Cuff and Link, you're in love with him. He's so sweet. It's such a beautiful, beautiful performance. And I love when Apollo Creed calls him the Italian stallion. Italian. Cracked me up. I don't think we could say that now.
You just
And
did.
there's real awkwardness. Oh, I'm gonna get canceled. And there's real awkwardness with Paulie. Burt Young is such a hothead, and he's such right on the edge of everything. It's like
When he, I just got to say, when he throws the turkey out of the window on Thanksgiving, that I remember as a child watching that disturbed me. Like he was such a dick.
yeah.
All I kept thinking was that turkey would be way too hot to be holding. Seriously.
But his hands are frozen from the meat packing, so he can't
Uh-huh.
really feel it. You know, like I can hold a bagel without it doesn't hurt my fingers. And then that first date with Adrian, just lovely. And the ice skating rink, of course, I read that they couldn't afford to pay the extras. That's why they were ice skating by themselves. And then they walked to his apartment. I have no idea why they walked to his apartment. Did she live nearby?
She lived with Paulie. How would he get her alone if
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
went
but
back?
but if you were Adrian, why would you go with Rocky to his apartment? Why wouldn't you have him walk you home?
Hey, she could be shy. It doesn't mean she doesn't want to, get down.
And she didn't want to get down.
But the total adorableness of him inviting her when he says, come on, and then he goes off screen, and then you just see his hand come and hold the screen door open.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my God, so adorable.
Yes.
And Talia Shire is really good here. She really is. But how do you resist Sylvester Stallone? He's so pretty. He's so vulnerable, so lovable. And that first kiss, you think, okay, this could be a little creepy, but then it was just so lovely. But Talia Shire screaming at Paulie, I took care of you, Paulie, was a little, I don't know, best actress.
Channeling her, Connie Corleone from The Godfather.
She only has one performance.
Yeah.
And the promoter, he looked so familiar, and I don't remember his name. And then I remember because I used to watch Dark Shadows, and he was on Dark Shadows, the promoter guy. No idea who he was, though. Hey, there's Anthony Carrigal.
The party going on over there.
I know. And then when Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, says no to the promoter, kind of mirroring him and the whole film idea. And that was some beautiful acting right there. And that's part of the reason why he got that Oscar nomination for Best Actor. But who actually won was Peter Finch for Network. Okay, I'll give him that one. But also that year was Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in this movie, Sylvester Stallone is right up there with both of them, really. The film won 3 of its 10 Oscar nominations, Best Picture, Director, and Film Editing. And the main players were all nominated. Talia Shire as Best Actress, Burt Young and Burgess Meredith as supporting actors. And Stallone was also nominated for his screenplay. And it was nominated for sound and for Bill Conti's theme from Rocky, Gonna Fly Now. What's more iconic than that? But it lost to Evergreen from A Star is Born, Barbra Streisand. And Burgess Meredith, wow. Just such a terrific performance. And it's like, trying to get rid of the penguin, that is all he was known for up to this point. To give this performance. And when he shows up at Rocky's apartment, once Rocky gets the go-ahead to fight, another terrific scene. And when he goes and he forgets his hat and he comes back,
Yep.
and Rocky sees him and goes back in, I'm like, oh my God.
That to me, that's the best part of the movie.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
He's like just putting himself out there and so beautiful. But of course, Rocky gives in because he's such a great guy. He's always going to do the right thing. So then the training starts. Oh, the eggs. Can't you cook eggs and get the same benefits, or do you have to drink them raw?
I think so.
No,
you're
this was
getting-
the 70s.
When you're getting up at 4 a.m. to go jogging, you don't have time to scramble the eggs.
At the time, nutrition has changed in the last 40 years. Let me just say that, 50 years,
Oh. But at the time, they were like, eat raw eggs.
pretty much.
I remember
It being
the
a pretty
whole,
big deal when that happened.
yeah, I remember the whole audience going, ew, when it happened. And Butkus, oh my God, how cute. That was actually Sylvester Stallone's dog.
Did you read? Danielle read the trivia on that. I
Yeah.
think real name is Buster, and he sold the
No,
dog.
Butkus.
Yeah.
But he sold the dog and then bought him back and the guy charged him $15,000 to buy the dog back, but he did anyway because it was
Yeah.
his dog. So
Aww. And then when he does that TV interview that Paulie sets up, again, beautiful work by Sylvester Stallone. He's so awkward and trying to be interesting. And I just want to know when Sylvester Stallone stopped being an actor. That's 'cause,
Probably around the time of Rocky 3.
Rocky 2 was pretty torturous too for me.
Yeah, but there's some other
What?
movies that he made around the same time into 81 and 82 where he's still
like that whole Union movie. What was that one?
Fist.
Paradise Alley or something?
Oh, there's no, I think Fist is the Union movie.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're at 30 minutes to go, and we finally get the theme and the montage. And there's nothing more invigorating and inspiring than that montage, those 3 minutes, when he conquers the steps at the Philadelphia Museum of Art and the camera spins around him. That is an iconic movie moment right there. Iconic. And I was like, iPhone, iconic. I don't know. And now they're known as the Rocky Steps. And how many people have recreated that? And he doesn't even run up the whole thing. He only runs up halfway. In 1982, they erected a statue of that moment outside the museum. And then when he gives that whole
which is in Rocky 3.
the
What is that?
statue.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And then again, another lovely moment from Stallone when he gives that just another bump from the neighborhood speech. So beautiful. Okay, so Apollo Creed, obviously some version of Muhammad Ali. Carl Weathers is definitely fun. And then when we get to the fight, he announces Creed in 3, but Rocky wants to go the distance. And that, isn't that a different movie? Go the distance. And why Joe Frazier? To legitimize the whole boxing element of this?
They apparently invited a lot of famous boxers to come shoot the scene, but Frazier's the only one who showed up because he's from Philadelphia. So
Oh, how funny. That's funny. And the cut me Mick again, such a nice moment. And at the end, Creed says, ain't going to be no rematch.
Mhm.
Of course, the executives at United Artists had different ideas. There have been 8 sequels, although Stallone did not appear in Creed 3. There have been video games, a novelization, a documentary in 2020 about the making of Rocky. And there was even a Broadway musical in 2014. Did you see it, Mark G?
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah. And the boxing ring came out into the audience.
That was fantastic. That was a spectacular moment. The show was okay. The music was okay, but the part where they go through the aisles and someone is carrying an actual camera and they put it up on screen as if you were at an actual boxing match. It was very realistically done, and the ring came out into the audience. It was fun.
Did you do the kiss cam?
No.
Okay. So the poster for the movie is actually Rocky and Adrian walking away from the boxing ring hand in hand down the corridor. And it was the last shot of the film, but director John Advilson decided to scrap it. And that's why the movie just ends in the boxing ring. And yes, you can tell I read the trivia. So did John Avildsen do any other good movies? I don't even know him.
You know him. He was
Right.
huge.
What did he do?
You've posted something on the Franken list that said this is the guy who did Rocky. So he's done something else. I don't remember offhand, but
Gosh, I gotta look him up. He did so many things.
Yeah. Well, he won the Oscar for this movie. And I definitely think he does a really beautiful job with this movie. It's a 4-star movie for me.
Well, he
no
did
doubt
Rocky
about it.
5.
No,
He did the
did
Karate
not.
Kid.
did,
He
he
did the
did.
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid. Hey, all
Karate
right.
Kid. He did
Rocky
Neighbors.
Five.
He did Lean on Me.
Lean on Me.
I don't know any of these movies.
You don't know
Yes,
Lean on Me?
No.
What's
How do you
Lean
not-
on Me?
Lean on Me's the
Morgan Freeman?
Morgan Freeman.
teacher movie.
And I think you've heard of Karate Kid.
None
1,
of
2,
these-
and 3.
We did
None
that.
of
That was my pick last year.
None of these are great movies.
How dare
Now,
you.
Karate
How
Kid
dare
is
you.
great.
What about WW and the Dixie Dance Kings?
Best movie ever.
Was he ever nominated again for an Oscar? I don't think so.
Uh,
All right. Well, 4 stars for me, no doubt about it. This is a great, great film. If you haven't seen it, you really should. Even if you don't like sports movies, it's a real feel-good movie, and I think everybody should see it, and everybody should love it.
just
Annie King, don't you love it?
Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say this is the only film that he got nominated for an Oscar for. However, he did get nominated for 3 other worst directors at the Razzies.
Wow.
There you go. But and I've talked about this before, how sometimes just all the elements come together and create a classic that nobody thought was going to be a classic.
Yeah.
And because of the elements, and this is definitely one of them. Annie
Yeah.
King, I'm sure you've seen this before.
I have, but I was talking to my brother. I don't think I saw it in the theater, as I would have been 10. Was it rated? What was it rated when it came out?
PG.
PG.
PG. I don't think I went to the theater to see it. I do remember seeing Rocky 2 in the theater. So I'm not sure if I went back and saw Rocky 1 after Rocky 2. But like you said, it's such a feel-good movie and you're rooting for the underdog. And does that ever really happen where they just choose somebody to fight for the title?
Well, I was like, there's no way they could just pull someone off the street for the heavyweight championship. And one of the trivia things.
No, and if I just watched Creed 3 and they do the same thing with Jonathan Majors there. He hasn't had a fight and they just pick him to fight the champion.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen
I
in real
said, I
life.
can't imagine. So in one of the trivia bits said that anybody who fights the champion has to at least be in the top 10 or at least have beaten someone in the top 10 to move into the top 10. Then you could pick them.
Yeah, they only changed that rule after Rocky.
Yeah.
So, another question that I had was his explanation of Southpaw, that's the real explanation of what Southpaw means?
I don't know the historical significance, but it
The
made sense to me.
It originated from a baseball term.
Yeah.
Not a
Yeah,
boxing.
right. Yeah, I've heard of southpaw as far as baseball is concerned.
That's where it started.
Meaning left-handed. Yeah.
Right, but like when he said, because Jersey's to the south.
Yeah,
of
no, he
New-
made that up. The true story is from baseball.
Okay.
Because when you're facing the plate, if you're left-handed, I don't know. That's your southpaw.
All right, so I'll have to ask someone that. And then also, with-
Obviously, we have no idea.
yeah,
We'll
I'll have
look
to
that up.
know later.
But-
Where's the dog? All of a sudden, the dog is gone. He was running with the dog, and then you never see the dog again. I'm like,
There's a cut scene that the dog ran off.
No.
I was just like, and then when Adrian's at his place, like, you don't see the dog. It's not a big place, and he's a big
Yeah.
dog. What happened to Butkus? I like and in the beginning, everyone's in a bad mood. He's in a bad mood today. He's in a bad mood. It cracked me up.
It was the 70s. Everyone was in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Yes. I like the line "Crime don't pay" when he takes the turtle food from the store, from the pet
Yeah.
shop. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
And the "Eat Lightning" and "Crap Thunder." I thought that
I
was funny.
think that
too.
was his version of float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's a great movie. You know, you always ruin it. And I did like how the music, it would be like throughout the movie, the theme song, but slow and leading into things and
Different
stuff.
variation.
Yeah, so I like that. So yeah, it's a 4-star for me. It's a great movie to watch.
Joel, do you agree it's a 4-star movie?
Yeah.
All right, I'm writing it down.
That wasn't very, whatever.
It's very
Wasn't
wishy-washy,
very
Joel.
enthusiastic about it.
No, it's a 4-star movie. It's
And you've seen it millions of times. How
I've-
old were you when it came out?
I was 76. I would have been 7. So
Did you go to the movies with
you
your
know, here's
dad?
the thing: is I remember seeing Rocky 2 in the theaters. I don't remember seeing Rocky in the theaters, but I must have, because I can't imagine having seen Rocky 2 without having seen Rocky 1, unless it was on television, like in 77 or 78 before Rocky 2 came out in the theaters. I don't
feel
know.
like the old rule used to always be a movie had to be out 3 years before it could be on broadcast.
Yeah, I don't
think you're
remember
right.
that stuff. So but I've seen it multiple times. I've got little tiny action figures behind me of, those are the only ones though. I don't have a big 6-scale version of Rocky, although they've made multiples of him and Apollo Creed and Clubber Lang and Ivan Drago, and you can get a meat action figure from the 7-inch scale line. So
But you have meat there now, Joel.
I
right?
do, but yeah, one of the mini mates came with a side of meat.
That's great.
So
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Joel's meat.
that was my meat. It's only 2 inches tall.
It was to scale.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It was to scale.
Anyway, back on track. It's a great movie. My hesitation is only because, did it deserve Best Picture that year? It's up against All the President's Men. It's up against Taxi Driver. It's one of those network. It's one of those okay, whatever. I know that Academy members were polled a few years ago about would they have still voted for that that movie, and it would have gone to All the President's Men. It's one of those controversial Oscar picks, but it's a good movie. It deserves it. Stallone is amazing in it, and it's unfortunate that part of his career subsided for a while, where he was just doing crappy ass action picture after crappy ass action picture.
Stop or my mom will shoot.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking of the comedies. I was literally thinking there's a period of like 2 or 3 years where he did a bunch of direct-to-video movies in the early 2000s that are just
Oh, okay.
garbage. But he's had a career resurgence with the Creed films, or at least 2 of them, and Tulsa King on Paramount Plus is a really
He's actually very good in Tulsa King.
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
It's a really good show. And he did do things in between, like Copland. He's great in that.
Great, and he did. I mean, I know it's cheesy movies, but The Expendables, he wrote that, he created that. It's more of a fun, for all action fans to bring all those guys
Sure.
together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Not an Oscar
I
winner.
definitely
No.
remember that was fun. Cliffhanger was fun.
Yeah, Daylight isn't horrible, but I think it's when he really acts, he is an actor. He can do it.
Yeah.
I think there are other action heroes that make those attempts, and it's like, what are you doing? Please stop. That hurts. But it's he's surrounded by a great supporting cast. As much as you hate Paulie for the way he treats
Oh my God.
everybody, is heartbreaking at times, and it's hard to watch at times. But the
That's
movie,
so true to the character. He stays. Yeah, it's great.
And it's-
He was like a Marine, or he was in the Navy, or like, because in the picture,
Paulie,
yeah.
yeah, I think they said he was in the Navy. I think he was on a ship. It's
Well, in the Navy, you can sail the 7 seas in the
right.
Navy.
In the Navy.
It's just it's well made, and it's funny having backing up for a week, you know, Martin is a very low budget film that was shot in and around Pittsburgh, essentially. And this is a studio film, but it was a low budget studio film that, you know, really shot in and around Philadelphia. And there's a similar kind of grit look to the films. And I think that helps this movie a lot. It really gives it's not as flashy and
Right.
polished
Polished.
as the later sequels would eventually become.
Right.
But I think that's part of the draw for it. It is a great movie. It's easy to watch. It flows. It doesn't drag in any spot, and it's heartwarming. It is a 4-star film. So
I was 18 when this movie came out, and yes, I did see it in the theater. Aim?
I too was 10 when this movie came out and had no interest in seeing a boxing movie.
Sure.
So I've seen this movie, I would say 1 time.
Oh,
Really?
Okay.
Yeah. It was always like, well, I guess I really should watch Rocky. It's a classic, but I feel like I've
Wait
seen
a
it.
minute. This is the first time you've seen it?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh, have you seen any of the sequels? Any?
I only saw Creed 1 and 2.
Okay.
But I feel like I've seen this movie because I've seen the montage. I know the story. I knew he wasn't going to win, which is something I love about this movie
Yes.
because they so set it up the way Apollo Creed is acting like, yeah, fuck this guy, he sucks. And he goes 15 rounds with him. I thought that was great. And I do think Stallone was terrific. And I love what's his nuts who played Apollo Creed. I love him.
Carl
And
Weathers.
Yeah. Carl Weathers, thank you. And I've always been a fan of, I used to love Burgess Meredith, and I never disliked or liked really Paul Young.
Burt Young.
Burt Young.
That doesn't sound right. But I did not like either of them in this movie, and I'm shocked that they were nominated. I thought they were just nonstop screaming. And that's, to me, just annoying. You could be angry without just screaming like a lunatic. So I did not like them. I thought Talia Shire's character was so bizarrely meek. Like, nobody acts like that. It was just too much for me. And I found the scene where he kissed her in the apartment so uncomfortable. And all I kept thinking of is, this is what men back in the day thought, this is how you kiss a girl. You just make her feel so uncomfortable and trapped. And then you just kiss her and everything is great.
I'll be
Oh,
honest.
oh
When
my
I watched it, I didn't remember it being like that. I was like, oh, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, she did not want to be there. It was just awful.
Well, from what I understand, Talia Shire actually had the flu.
Yeah, I
And
read
she
that
was worried about getting him sick.
which I loved. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is a really good movie. He was so good. He had so many good moments. I was so proud of him. And it was so nice that it was his first really starring role, and he was so good. So I'm only going to give it 3.5 stars. As much as I enjoyed it, I definitely could see giving it more stars and watching it a few more times. And I might even watch Rocky 2 today,
Yes.
since Mark, you love it so much.
Let me email you on which parts to skip through Rocky 2.
Rock,
It's
which to
30
skip
minutes too long.
No,
2 is?
I'll talk to you off camera, Amy. Don't worry. Watch the whole damn thing. It's a perfect
Yeah, I
movie.
wouldn't skip.
No, some of it just drags on. All right, Mark. So you picked it.
I did. And I'll start by saying I was 1 when this came out, so I did not see this in the theater.
God.
Have you seen it in the movie theater since?
No,
Never. Wow.
I don't know if it's ever been back in the theater, but if it has, I
Oh, yeah.
didn't. No,
We've done marathons.
I
We
went to
could
see The Big
it
Lebowski in the theater this year, but that's it. No, so again, keep in mind my age, and in the 80s, I got my first VCR in 1983, and then we started, having movies on tape. And I grew up with, as you know, Star Wars, but also Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the sequel, and Rocky 2. And I would watch those over and over again. And they're more for, Temple of Doom has Short Round and all the kids and everything. And Rocky
Yeah.
2, he wins. It's a little bit sillier. And I would watch it over and over again. My parents finally showed me Raiders and Rocky 1, and I was like, ugh, those are boring old people movies. I did not like Rocky. I thought it's way too slow. It's a love story. It's not I want boxing, I want action, and all the other Rockies have more of that. I didn't appreciate this until I was definitely in my 20s when I finally went back and rewatched it. I was like, I'll give it a shot. And I was like, wow, this is an actual good movie.
Yeah,
So
the
that's my
boxing
history.
actually, yeah, the boxing, like I said, didn't come till almost.
No,
movies
and
like
if you're an 8, a 10-year-old, whatever you want, you don't want to see him goofing around and nothing happens. It's really slow for little kids. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
but Rocky
But
2 really is.
now
And
that you're grown and sophisticated,
yes, much
Now
more
that you're
mature
adult.
and sophisticated.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Yeah.
I think my vision is colored because of that. So, Amy, I don't know, to be honest, if you will love Rocky 2. I love it because I was a kid and I've watched it 100 times. So I'm interested to see if you do watch it. And spoiler alert, he does win this
I
time.
figured he would win the second time
Yeah.
around. Sure.
Mark, can you
Doesn't
really
he
say,
kill Creed? Doesn't he kill Apollo Creed in the third one?
No. I won't tell you. I don't want to give up spoilers, but no, he doesn't. He never, no, him and Apollo become friends eventually.
Mark, can you really say your vision is colored?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
Because you're
I'm colorblind. Does that?
Yes, that's why.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know.
Anyway, let me go to my notes now. Yes, it's a love story that just happens to have boxing in it. So as you said, Frank, it's not a sports movie. It's in the background. All the Rocky montages and the music, it makes me absolutely crazy. I'm very annoying to live with. If I hear that or I watch it, I start doing push-ups. I run around the house like a maniac. I start shadow boxing. I did a bunch of martial arts, so I start just fighting myself. It makes me absolutely crazy. The opening scene, just with the scroll with Rocky coming across and the music right away, I lose it.
Yeah.
I lose it.
Can you do a one-arm push-up though?
I have that in my notes. When I was a kid, when I finally watched Rocky, number one, I did 4 eggs and I tried. I don't think I made it all the way through, but I tried drinking. And yes, I would do one-arm push-ups. When you spread your legs like that, you balance yourself out. It's not as hard as it looks. If you try to keep strict form, that's a different story. And that is true strength. What Rocky did there, don't forget, I had to do push-ups as part of doing Taekwondo. So I was doing push-ups all the time anyway. So doing one arm, especially when you're 10 years old and, I was a twig. So it was it's not that hard, put it that way. So,
Sure, Danielle appreciates it.
yeah, I can't do them anymore, although I still do push-ups, but not one arm. I adore his compliments and his constant dumb jokes with Adrian. And I feel that's like I do the same thing. That's how I've always dated, I think that's what helped me close the deal with Danielle, because I was funny. And I don't know, as you said, he's so likable in this. I don't know. Anyway, I can't tell you how many times I've said "cut me, Mick" or a variation of that. And I love that just Sly in real life is a fantastic person. He, I'm sure you read this in trivia that he adopted Cuff and Link, and they do make an appearance in Creed 2, which was what, 40 years later?
Yeah, apparently as of 2020 in the trivia, they're still alive.
Yes. Yeah. And I just want to state for the record, then that means that 2 random turtles have 2 more screen times or credits than anyone on the Zoom here. And Gazzo, the mobster, growing up in the Bronx in an Italian neighborhood, I knew 4 guys that looked and sounded exact. I swear to God, my dad had a client that was Gazzo. I've seen it a few times. And lastly, I'll say that it was so weird when I finally watched The Godfather as an adult to see Talia Shire not be Adrian. Like I knew her, like she was Adrian. To see her actually, being loud and everything, it was very off-putting for me. I couldn't compute it. Anyway, obviously 4 stars for me. And last thing too is just how athletic Sly really is in real life. I mean, just getting out and running and all that stuff. They would just kick him out of the van and then just film him running. And I wish I was that athletic, put it that way. I'm very jealous.
I just wish he had less baggy pants on. That's all I was hoping.
Well, as the movies go along, he gets in better and better bodybuilding shape and loses clothes more and more to show it off.
Well, so we all agree this is definitely a movie everybody should be watching. And Rocky is available on Netflix if you subscribe to that subscription service. Now, next, are we all done with Rocky now?
Yeah.
Okay. Next week, Annie tries to lighten the mood with 2013's We Are the Millers, which stars Jennifer Aniston and Jason Sudeikis and is also on Netflix. I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of his. I don't know.
Oh, I think he's funny.
Depends on what it is.
To me, he's always very smarmy and smart alecky.
Ted
Not my
Lasso?
kind of comedy. I'm sorry?
You watch Ted Lasso?
Yeah, only 1 and 2, and I was like, yeah, I don't really care what happens. I am Frank Gaffney. Go watch a movie.
Also with you.